Lena had never experienced anything quite like the chill that ran down her spine as she wandered through the bustling supermarket on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. The fluorescent lights hummed above her, casting a cold glow over the neatly stacked shelves of groceries. She hurriedly scanned her shopping list, eager to finish her errands and escape the dreariness of the day. As Lena reached for a can of soup, she felt a small hand tugging on the hem of her coat. Startled, she turned to see a little girl, no more than 5 years old, staring up at her with wide eyes. "Mommy," the girl whispered, her voice filled with hope. "I found you." Lena's heart skipped a beat as she looked down at the child. She shook her head slowly, confusion clouding her mind. "I think you have the wrong person, sweetheart," she managed to say, trying to sound gentle. Tears welled up in the girl's eyes, her bottom lip trembling. "But you promised you'd come back for me," she cried, her voice breaking with emotion. Lena's breath caught in her throat. Her mind raced, trying to make sense of a situation. She had no children, no family in this town. How could this little girl mistake her for someone else? Without a second thought, Lena knelt down in front of the girl, her heart aching at the sight of her tears. "What's your name, sweetheart?" she asked softly. The girl sniffled and wiped her eyes with the sleeve of her coat. "Julia," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Lena's brow furrowed as she searched her memory for any recollection of a promise made to a child named Julia, but there was nothing. She glanced around the supermarket, searching for any sign of an adult who might be looking for the lost girl. But the aisles were crowded with shoppers going about their business, oblivious to the unfolding drama. Taking Julia's hand, Lena led her to a quiet corner of the store, away from curious eyes. She crouched down to the girl's eye level and asked gently, "Julia, where is your mommy? Can you remember how you got here?" Julia sniffled and nodded. "I was with Mommy at the park. She said she had to go and buy groceries. She told me to wait for her by the fountain. But the fountain wasn't working, so I came here to find her. And I found you instead." Lena's heart clenched at the innocence in Julia's explanation. It was clear the girl was lost and scared, clinging to the hope that Lena was the one she had been waiting for. But Lena knew she couldn't simply walk away from this child in need. "Julia, I will help you find your mommy," Lena promised, her voice steady despite the uncertainty gnawing at her. "But we need to tell someone who works here so they can help us, okay?" Julia nodded, her eyes still brimming with tears. Lena guided her to the customer service desk, where a kind-faced woman listened attentively to their story. Within moments, an announcement was made over the store's intercom, calling for Julia's mother to come to the front. As they waited, Lena sat with Julia, trying to comfort her with small talk and gentle smiles. But her mind was preoccupied with unanswered questions. Who was Julia's mother? How had Lena become entangled in this mysterious drama? Finally, a woman rushed to the front of the store, her face etched with worry and relief. "Julia!" she exclaimed, sweeping the little girl into her arms. "I was so worried. Thank you for finding her." Lena watched the reunion with a mix of emotions. Relief washed over her as she saw Julia safe in her mother's arms. But there was a nagging feeling of unease in the pit of her stomach, a sense that there was more to this story than met the eye. As Julia's mother thanked Lena profusely for looking after her daughter, Lena couldn't help but ask, "I'm sorry, but do we know each other? Have we met before?" The woman looked puzzled for a moment before recognition dawned on her face. "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else. Julia has an imaginary friend named Lena. She's always talking about how Lena promised to come back for her one day. I guess she mistook you for her imaginary friend." Lena's heart skipped a beat as the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. She felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the gravity of the situation. Julia's innocent confusion had triggered a long-buried memory, a memory Lena had tried to forget. Many years ago, when Lena was just a child herself, she had a best friend named Julia. They had made a promise to each other, a promise to always be there for one another. But one day, Julia had vanished without a trace, leaving Lena heartbroken and alone. She had clung to the hope that one day Julia would come back for her, just like she had promised. As Lena watched Julia and her mother walk away, she felt a mix of emotions swirling inside her. Guilt for not recognizing the connection sooner, relief for helping reunite mother and daughter, and a sense of closure as she realized that sometimes promises made in innocence can echo through the years, bringing unexpected twists of fate. As she left the supermarket, the rain had stopped, and a sliver of sunlight peeked through the clouds. Lena took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders, and as she walked away, she whispered a silent promise to her long-lost friend, Julia, wherever she may be. I'll always be here for you, just like you promised to be there for me.